is something pretty remarkable.
This is my movie.
These are our stories.
I am Real Works.
Are you recording right now?
It ruined my life because I lost my mother.
We were really at the age where it was going to affect us the most.
Listen to my story.
This is my story.
Get inspired by us teens.
This is where I can tell my story.
Where teens from New York are given a voice. This is Real Works.
Welcome to Real Works. I'm Byron Hurt. This week on Real Works, 3 films about the memories people hold on to and what happens when they are lost. In our first film, filmmaker Jordan Burns visits a retirement home and hears the most precious moments in the lives of 3 seniors. Here's Memories.
Some of the joys and pleasures going to like places like Cody Island and stuff like that. Going swimming, I like that. You know, I like the pleasant thing, you know, what kids like. I like to go to the ball games. I was interested in baseball, games, you know, good sports. I like the girls.
I knew you were going to say that. It never fails.
Some of the favorite things in my past was the music, Glenn Miller and Artie Shore, and the Mills Brothers, the Platters, so many. On Friday nights, we would go to confraternity in the basement of the Catholic Church, and we'd be there for a few hours. And if you didn't know how to dance, you learned how to dance. Weekends you went dancing. In the summertime, you were always on the beach, and you were always dancing under the boardwalk. I grew up on 18th Street, between Prospect Park West and 8th Avenue. People appreciated one another. Everybody had the same. Nobody had more, like socialism. My mother and father raised me. My mother was a very pretty woman. My father was a nice-looking man, but very quiet.
My mother raised me. Oh, what can you say about your mother? I think she's fantastic. She was everything. She raised me by herself because my father died when we were very young. When I was very young, he passed away, so she had to do it on her own. She did a good job.
And my mother passed away when I was 2, and I met my father when I was 12.
Oh, so
Raised with foster people, and they were kind of mean, you know. I guess because I didn't belong to them or something. You know? The only thing that bothered me was when I see a kid coming from school and his mother or dad is waiting for him and they hug him, and I kind of get a little, I don't know, jealous or you know, like I wonder, you know, how come that didn't happen to me, that's all. Maybe feeling sorry for myself. Kids miss those things, you know. I realize that now. That's why my kids aren't going to go through that, you know. We give them the love and everything that we could.
be about 56, no, he's dead 16 years, he was 40, about 56 years old. He was quite intelligent, but he was too intelligent and he turned to other things. And he died when he was 40 years old, he died from AIDS.
I lost my children, and that was very hard, still is.
We lost two of them in a car accident. One was stabbed to death.
My youngest son had colon cancer. Never wanted to tell me because I had already lost 4 kids. He didn't want me to go through that again. But he knew that he wasn't going to make it, so he never, and his wife never told me. It's nothing that you ever get over. You don't get over that. They weren't just, I only had 1 baby. It was a crib death. The rest of them were already grown up. So it's hard to grow up, to raise children, and then they're not there, you know, and it hurts, and it never goes away. That hurt never goes away. Everybody says, oh, you'll get over it. You do not get over it. That's one thing you don't, and I've been through hardship with that, and still going through it.
You have to have somebody in your life to love, and he has to love you too. Otherwise, it's not good. Why is it important? Because we all need somebody. We can't be alone for the rest of our lives. When you're alone the rest of your life, something is missing, something that you're looking for and you have never found, and you don't find it because you've been alone too long. You have to have somebody to love and somebody to love you.
My daughter asked me, she says, if you had one wish, she said to me, she said, Daddy, if you had one wish, what would you wish for? And I said, I would wish that everybody loved everybody. And my daughter, you know, being 10 years old, she said, oh, not me. I'd wish I had $1 million. I said, if everybody loved everybody, you wouldn't need $1 million. And she stopped at the, you know, she's got her head on her shoulder. She said, you're right, Daddy. Yeah, you remember that?
I remember that. Because if you have love, you have everything. And that's the truth. I married him October 6, 1954.
Yeah.
Never forget that. That was my happiest day. My happiest day in my life.
I love her more today than I did the day we married. And she's everything to me. And this may be hard to believe, but we don't even get mad at each other, do we? If she says something that I don't, I just shut her. I know better, you know. When you got a woman, you zip it, you know. And then what we do, if we do get mad at each other, we look at each other, what do?
Laugh.
We smile at each other.
Yeah.
You know, 10 minutes, that's about it. You know. We get along real well. I wouldn't want another person.
What happens when your most cherished memories start to fade? In our next film, Kiesha Frazier looks at the effects Alzheimer's has on the people in her life. Here's Lost Minds.
Most changes in life are inevitable and unexpected. When you've known someone your whole life, you never think they will change. And when it comes to people like my great uncle Harold or my best friend's grandmother Rosario, you wish they wouldn't.
Rosario Vicens was born in Mexico, November 3rd, 1926.
She's a very nice person since I met her for the first time. Very friendly, very happy, and catch your heart right away.
Harold Emanuel. He was born in St. Croix, Virgin Islands, 1922.
I had a great relationship with my father. We could talk about anything. We could argue about anything.
He was very talkative. Once he got started, he didn't know when to stop. But he was always friendly toward people. Just don't get him real mad.
I remember one time after I had graduated with my second master's, my mother said, I hope you're not looking for your diploma. I was looking for something else. I said, no. She said, because your father took it to work to show people.
In the beginning, it was okay. We were dealing with it, but then he would start getting missing.
They had the helicopters out, detectives looking for him. One time they found him in 2 days. One time it was in Manhattan. You don't know how he got there, but he was in Manhattan and they found him and they put him in Bellevue Hospital because they didn't have any ID on him.
When she first moved in with us, it was kind of funny to us because she used to do a lot of crazy things. Like she used to make us laugh a lot. And it was kind of exciting because, we would try to keep her in from running away. Like she was like another kid, like she was like a bad kid.
We were constantly like, it was such a burden, like, mom this, mom that. Everything was like always arguing with her, trying to convince her that what she was saying, what she was feeling, nothing's gonna happen to her. She was very frightened. Help me, she would scream out the window, help me, police, somebody, my daughter's trying to hurt me.
We used to fall asleep and she'd wake up in the middle of the night. And then when we wake up, we used to find shoes like on the beds and some on the kitchen tables and stuff. And then she started forgetting like our names.
Sometimes she would just make crazy stories up that are not true. And she was just like different.
How old are you?
Oh.
So you're 85.
85. Really?
Uh-huh. Oh, well, you will be in September. So you're 84 now. Tell her in the camera.
I'm in the camera.
Yeah, tell her.
84. Is that right?
Right, that's right.
He started to show signs of Alzheimer's about 5 years ago. The man who knew how to get everywhere, all of a sudden, gradually, couldn't think of where to drive to. And driving was his profession.
Some days he doesn't know who I am. He'll call me somebody else. But he always remembered my daughter.
I won't say that our relationship has changed. It's changed a lot because the way he talks and acts, it's a difference, great difference.
When we get married, what happened when we got married?
I'm asking.
I don't know, I don't remember. When did I meet you?
January 29, 1949.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
In Alzheimer's disease, the mind dies first. Names, dates, places, the interior scrapbook of entire life fade into the mist of non-recognition.
I take care of Rosario's, and she used to have Alzheimer's disease, and she don't know about anything because she just has to do everything for her.
There are times when sometimes we feel it's like not a burden, but Like, we do have to sacrifice some stuff because she can't be home by herself ever.
She used to make me crazy. Like, I don't know why, but she used to make me crazy. So one time I was just yelling at her. I was like, Grandma, stop screaming, stop screaming. Like, I was just yelling back at her because she was making me crazy, because she was going crazy. And then I think I screamed so much at her, and I don't know why, I was like really stressed out. But then I started like crying, and I went to her and I was like, and I knew she didn't understand me. I knew she wasn't understanding what I was saying. So I was like, Grandma, I'm sorry. I was trying to speak in Spanish. I was like, yo te amo mucho. She just came out of nowhere and she just snapped out of her little Alzheimer's stage she was having. And she goes, you know, I love you too. She's like, I remember when I used to watch you, when we grew up, you know, when you was growing up, I watched you. And that day I was just crying, and I remember my mother was at church. And she came back, and I told my mother, and I was crying to my mother. I was like, my God, grandmother, like, she remembered me. She remembered me out of nowhere. Like, I didn't think she knew who I was.
My relationship with her, from my side, is more like very loving, like my son. He's really taught me a lot to care for my mom, like the way he sees my mom like this beautiful angel, you know, like this doll, and he just wants to eat her up all the time, and that's how I've been able to like really see her that way too. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Ah? ¿Qué? Good night. Good night. ¿Te vas a dormir? ¿Te vas a dormir? Okay, love you. Un besito. I love you.
Death is hard. Death is hard. Death is hard. You know, that's about what I'd have to do. I mean, the mourning process, you get flashes of memory, you remember throughout the day. You're trying to keep busy, but I didn't remember how difficult mourning a person who's so close to you is. And I try to contain myself with the good memories, and like someone said to me, boy, you're blessed to have had your parents, you know, as long as you had them, and to have a great relationship with your mom and your dad. So I feel blessed.
Of course, we're not just shaped by the memories of what happened to us, but the dreams and aspirations that carried us through different times in our lives. In tonight's final film, filmmaker Naiquan Greene asks his mother and grandmother what they once dreamed of being as children and the choices they were forced to make along the way.
Dreams are desires that we work at to make a reality.
My dreams when I was about 16 or 17 years old was to be a reporter.
At one point, basically, I wanted to be an architect because I used to like buildings and things like that.
My dreams are to be like a football player, a lawyer, a judge. I want to be a skyscraper.
While I wanted to be an attorney, growing up in the South, there were very few opportunities for a black child to realize their dream.
I did take a misstep. I was not strung out on drugs or anything like that, but I was very, very discouraged with a lot of things as far as not having enough money to pursue prep schools.
When I was in undergrad, I had an opportunity to go to law school. But at the time, getting skill, a career that I felt at the time would allow me to make money so that I could support your mother and your aunt and myself was more important to me.
I stopped college and had my son. Never regretted it. Never, ever, 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 let me say that to the camera a couple of times. Ever, ever, ever. The best thing that I ever did was to have him. So never, 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 never regretted it at all.
Growing up, I always wanted to be something great. A singer, an actor, a writer, a filmmaker. I was and am still surrounded by dreamers. For them, life got in the way. As for me, I used the experiences to inspire me to make my dreams a reality.
The reality is you can dream of that $1 million house, but the reality is you're never going to have it. You may dream of that large yacht, but the reality
My
is
dreams is to one day be a tycoon.
I really encourage people to dream, but you also need a plan, a system, a way of getting there. And so if I had to do it again.
From time to time, I do low courier, so I go to different buildings and deliver packages to consulting companies, law firms, things of that nature.
One thing I like about it, because I get a chance to see different buildings, see different people. It ain't like, I'm in a set place where I gotta be sitting down.
You could be anywhere in a negative environment. It depends on where your mentality and your mind is at. You could be locked in somewhere, you could be in something, but as long as your mind ain't locked in, and then you could just, your mind and your thoughts and your vision could take you out of any situation you was in.
I work for a major telephone company as a customer service representative. Am I happy doing the job? It's a job. It's something that allows me to do a lot of things that I need to do as well as things that I want to do. But happiness is not something that I would say in regards to it.
What makes me scared would probably be like waking up one day when I'm like 45 years old and realizing that I haven't done anything that I set out to do like right now at 17 years old. And like waking up and I got like, my bed is all crusty and rusty and like I'm just a low life or like a nobody to myself.
As far as Naiquan succeeding in this environment, he has the best chances. Naiquan is more motivated than I was.
I'm going to the 3rd floor though.
I feel he motivated enough, Just gotta just stay focused, don't have no distractions, and just stay strong. And anything he wanna accomplish, I feel he can do it. I know he got my spirit in him, he got my genes, and I know I'm a go-getter.
I see you realizing every dream that you have. And I also realize, I see you not being afraid to stop and reevaluate and change directions if you see that there's a need to do so. I like the fact that you're your own person. Regardless as to what is happening around you, you're you. And the things that you have determined in your heart by the grace of God that you want to do, you're actively working towards those things.
That's it for this week. Join us next time for more unfiltered voices of Brooklyn youth on RealWorks. I'm Byron Hurt. Peace.